So we'll go
Hmm.
straight into it. Did you at all get a peek of Meghan's episode today, which is with the highbrow hippie co-founder? Did you see any of the headlines circulating about that?
Are there headlines circulating about
I
that?
mean,
Because I check
no.
the news every morning, first thing, and I saw no headlines about that.
You're like, is there did Meghan Markle breaking news, a new episode podcast drops? No, the headline circulating is her glorified explanation for why she became as ever and why she actually refers to American Riviera Orchard as word salad, which made me laugh because that's something we talk about all the time, how Meghan Markle is just full of it, is full of the word
Hmm.
salad. But it gives you this sense that Meghan is really trying to use this podcast as a vehicle to justify her historically bad judgment and rewrite history. But having her girlfriend on, the creator of Highbrow Hippie, a brand that I think both you and I have only ever heard of because of Meghan Markle
I've never heard of it, Kinsey.
at all, not even because of,
No.
oh wow. Well, I think to me it kind of justifies the stories that have been circulating that Meghan is having a really hard time booking A-list guests or booking anybody relevant for her podcast. Have you heard anything similar just through gossip? And then we'll read some of the quotes that insiders have been whispering about Meghan's difficulty to find legitimate podcast guests.
Well, I think it's just obvious. When Camp Montecito wants us to know something, they do leak it. They leak profusely, even though they want their privacy. So, the Occam's razor, sort of the simplest explanation is the most likely. Episode one, I am sure her dream guest would have been Gwyneth Paltrow. That is a no-brainer. It's her neighbor in Montecito, one of the starriest of entrepreneurs. She's in that whole health and wellness and organic space. And I'm sure it was a no.
Yeah.
If she even got a response. And I'm trying to, I was thinking like Victoria Beckham, that's another one. You want the stars, you want to bring in the eyeballs and the ears and the listens and the likes. These people are clearly keeping a great distance from the toxicity. And when you look at the Netflix show, there is no you can see exactly why. You see how she treated Mindy Kaling
Hmm.
in her fake kitchen, correcting her multiple times, sniping and microaggressing. Who would go near this?
Yeah, right. Okay, so what I love this line that insiders say Meghan Markle is raging that A-listers are keeping their distance. Raging is always a fun way to describe Meghan Markle. According to reports, the Duchess of Disappointment is facing an uphill battle in the general buzz for her new show, Confessions of a Female Founder. A media insider revealed she's dialed all the big names, like you said, likely calling people like Gwyneth. I imagine Jessica Alba, Kerry Washington, some of these people we've actually seen her vaguely engage with on social media. And no one's picking up the phone. And they also mentioned here there's no Taylor Swift, no Beyonce, not even Hailey Bieber. I feel like Hailey would do anything at this point to distract from the Justin headlines too. I feel like we might even see Hailey do that podcast if she were to be asked. When you're pitching female empowerment, that's a problem. It speaks volumes for her pulling power. She's not happy about her lack of appeal. It is a lack of appeal. And just to have a bunch of your friends on your podcast that just sit there and kiss your ass, that's not a good listening experience for anyone.
Meghan Markle's newest podcast was supposed to be her big comeback. A fresh, powerful series focused on female founders. Big voices, bold conversations. But guess what? Episode 1 features someone no one's ever heard of. The founder of Highbrow Hippie. Yeah, we're Googling it too. According to Maureen Callahan, this is the result of A-listers flat out rejecting Meghan. And I believe it. Gwyneth Paltrow? Nope. Reese Witherspoon? No way. Victoria Beckham? Not a chance. Even Hailey Bieber, who's been practically begging for distraction from Justin drama. Still no. Meghan is reportedly raging that nobody will take her calls. The Duchess of Montecito is being ghosted, and that speaks volumes.
None of it has anything to do with founding an actual business. It's all about fluffing Megan's ego, which needs inflating and reinflating on the hour, every hour on the hour. I was just thinking as you were speaking, like, who else could have been like kind of an easy get? Any one of the Kardashians, sure,
Mhm.
that was a no. Reese Witherspoon, I would love to hear
Reese
from
Witherspoon has said
Witherspoon.
no. I know that Reese Witherspoon had told her no for archetypes
You
because she
do.
loves Catherine.
Amazing. That is a person who she sold the business she founded for like $1 billion. You know, I love anybody who promotes reading as she does and has built a great brand on reading. That would be like so this is basically we are getting the baseline level of popularity among the A-list cohort that Meghan so desperately wants to belong to. And I think that's why we keep hearing her refer to herself as Duchess or I'm Sussex now. It's this kind of insistence to herself and to her four audience members that but she is important. She matters. She's
Yeah.
influential and attention will be paid.
Well, I'm glad you said that because I just read former Vanity Fair editor Tina Brown has made some more amusing observations about Meghan Markle that I imagine we will agree with, accusing her of being enormously shallow and claiming the reason she's launching so many new business ventures is because she's desperate for attention. And that's kind of how I felt when I read Tom Bower's new quotes about this crisis that Harry and Meghan are in to stay relevant. I thought, well, no wonder we're seeing these panic launches all, in a row. It's Meghan just it's you're sensing her anxiety. She's so fearful of becoming irrelevant. And that's basically what Tina Brown said. She said her problem is that she is so ADD. She just never stops making announcements and never really follows through. She said this on the Mixed Signals podcast. I'm like, I'm going to do a cooking show. Now I'm going to be a podcaster. Oh, look at my beauty line. The beauty line hasn't dropped yet, but I imagine it will. I imagine she will punish us with it one day. It's like just do all of those things. Don't do all those things. Do one thing really well. She says that Meghan seems panic stricken in her business model. And I loved this quote. Maybe she's just so void of self confidence that she's always trying to sort of become an instant Beyonce without the background that built her. She also said she's enormously shallow in her approach to the work that she does. What I hear from everyone is that she's unadvisable and that is an issue. And she talks about how she does have a really important group of people around her, or did at one point, that were advising her and just got so fed up with Meghan sitting in front of them, acting incredibly motivated by the advice she was being given, and then running off and doing the complete opposite. And the point that Tina made that I thought was important, especially watching everything that's going on right now, is she said, unfortunately, Meghan is the major advisor to Harry. She doesn't take advice, and he only takes hers. I mean, that is a recipe for disaster. Do you agree with Tina? Do you not agree with Tina? I always get a kick out of what she says.
I love Tina Brown and I could listen to her observations daily. I wish I could get access to that mind daily. I love it. Her book, The Palace Papers, was excellent. Um, I think, it's so funny that observation about like Megan sort of panic throwing all of these launches out there and how it really is only meant to redound to her benefit, right? To make her feel important, relevant, a constant in the headlines really, really lands. And I don't know about you, but like just personally, in the run up to launching the Nerve, I really thought and relied very much on a team of people who know far better than I do. But it feels like everybody out there, like everyone's got a podcast, right? So what am I bringing to people that they're not getting anywhere else? I have to have a reason for existing. I have to have a reason. It better be a damn good one to ask people to spend their free time and attention on my show. And I don't think Meghan thinks about her consumers that way.
Oh.
I don't think she thinks about them at all, frankly. I think she just throws it. Confessions of a Female Founder. Again, Kinsey, I love this name, right? And when in her intro to the show, she's talking about, oh, being a founder can be so overwhelming. And then she goes, woo, like it's the most artificial sigh of exhaustion and excitement I've ever heard. It explains why she really is, was, and remains at heart a suitcase girl.
This isn't about entrepreneurship or leadership. It's about building a media bubble that feeds Meghan's need for praise. Period. And now it gets brutal. When someone like Tina Brown, former editor of Vanity Fair, The New Yorker, and royal author, calls you out. That's no joke. Tina Brown says Meghan suffers from ADD when it comes to brand identity. One day she's a podcaster. The next she's launching jam and jelly. Now it's a makeup line. And all of it? Desperate for attention. Not strategy. Just noise. This is the pattern. Constant launches. No substance. And here's the kicker. Tina says Meghan is unadvisable. She won't listen to experts. And Harry? He only listens to her. That's a formula for disaster. Add Tom Bower into the mix and it becomes crystal clear. The Sussex brand is in crisis. And Meghan's erratic public appearances are starting to reflect that anxiety.
Yeah, the Hallmark actress, which is actually an insult to Hallmark actors. I love the Hallmark Channel. But that sigh you just did, I immediately flashed back to the duck video that she released around Easter of the baby ducks. Did you have the unfortunate?
Yes, it was in my algorithm, sadly. Yeah.
I mean, how over the top and obnoxious is that? It's baby ducks. Hell yeah, I love baby ducks. But why do we have to see your reaction to baby ducks? Why can't you just show us the baby ducks and your over the top reaction to the baby ducks?
That was my exact thought too. In her perfect white outfit, I'm going to say base price $1,000, with her hand like this, like, ooh, ooh, baby duck, look at me. I'm so whimsical. I'm just like a Montecito mama. I'm having this whimsical reaction to nature in my, like, the whole thing felt staged. I feel like those ducks were professionals. She hired them out. We did some dry runs.
Control casting provided the ducks.
Who provided the ducks? Exactly.
I mean, you're a 45-year-old woman. You've seen baby ducks before.
Yeah, we've all been in nature. We've all been to zoos, but you know, it's Easter, I guess. It's a time of renewal. Meghan loves to remind us of her maternal warmth, which again is another thing she's slinging and selling out on the open marketplace. And I, for one, do not buy it. I don't think oh, the Kinsey, the anecdote she told, was it on episode 2? Again, I only listened to clips, but she was talking about how motherhood is her absolute favorite thing. And she can't bear to be away from her children for a single second. Even in another room, she can't bear. So when she goes into another room, she has to get her phone out and start scrolling through all the pictures of her children who are just next door so she can get her fix. And then Harry comes in, and in her telling, I swear to God, this is like a verbatim quote. In her telling, Harry comes in and he goes, "My love, can't you just take care of yourself for a moment?
Oh
Won't
my
you go work out or take a bath?" Who talks like this, Kinsey? Who talks like this?
Oh my gosh. Those two are they're the most selfish people I've ever encountered in my entire life. I highly doubt that Meghan sacrifices Meghan has taken plenty of me time over the last 5 years. We saw it firsthand. That's wild to me that she puts that stuff out there. It's just, I guess it's her kind of like how we talk and about the way that Michelle Obama tries to drop these little hints that everything's fine at home with her and BO in her podcast. It's maybe that's Meghan attempting to do the same thing, especially when she's sitting on the. Did I tell you that I found out that the Drew Barrymore encounter was entirely staged? Like Meghan's team had all of the questions beforehand.
No.
Meghan knew she was going to be asked about Prince Harry. She had that story prepared about always dating. She knew Drew was going to bring out the picture of Princess Diana. And I actually defended her and said, well, I'm glad that she didn't like really lean into the Princess Diana thing. She seemed to be gracious and move on. Well, now I take it all back because now we know that every second of that was staged and approved by Markle's team.
Authenticity, Kinsey.
Yeah, she's super
Nothing
good
says
at it.
authenticity like pre-rehearsed questions and answers with Drew Barrymore, who is like she if you can say about Drew this, she is only incredibly sweet and loving and flattering to all of her guests. Her goal is to make you look good. So if you need freaking cue cards to have a Drew Barrymore appearance, you are in real trouble and you have not an authentic bone in your body. And to the Princess Diana moment, which I saw in real time, I thought this was an incredibly sweet moment on Drew's part, where she's bringing out this photo of herself as a small child, like 7 years old at an ET premiere, handing a little stuffed animal to a very young Princess Diana. Now, if I'm Meghan Markle, which thank God I'm not,
Yeah, thank God.
uh,
We wouldn't
I
be
would
friends.
say, I would say to Drew Barrymore, oh my God, what a moment in your life. You
Hmm.
have had a life like no other. Tell me what that moment was like for you. Tell me what meeting Diana was like for you. But she couldn't do it. She had to dismiss Drew as a mere fangirl. We're talking child Drew at
Yeah.
7. She goes,
Yeah.
oh, how sweet. How sweet.
Yeah.
I'll have to tell H about this. I'll have to just tell him. As if so she's levitating out of that conversation now. She's
Yeah.
no longer on terra firma with the rest of us. She's talking about H, not Harry, who presumably one would think is watching this show and cheering his wife on during her big launch and getting an A-list media hit that most people would kill for, which is going to presumably move some merchandise. Oh, I'll just have to tell him. Oh, you're so sweet. This is why people hate her.
Yeah.
She cannot level down. I
Well,
can't
it's one of the
stand her.
many
I'm sorry for
reasons. It's one of
swearing,
the
but
many reasons why people dislike.
Let's talk about the duck video. Viz wow. Meghan posts a clip of herself reacting way too dramatically to baby ducks. And I mean Oscar-worthy drama. According to Maureen, the ducks might have been rented, professionally cast, because nothing with Meghan is ever truly spontaneous. This isn't about being maternal or whimsical. It's performance art for her brand. The white outfit, the perfectly staged garden, the hand-over-heart gasp. And let's be honest, she's a 40-something woman. We've all seen ducks before. Then there's the podcast quote where she says she can't be in a separate room from her kids without scrolling through their photos. Even while Harry is encouraging her to take a bath. It's like a bad Hallmark script. Who talks like that? And the biggest red flag? The Drew Barrymore interview. It was staged. Every question approved by Meghan's team. Even the moment when Drew brings out a photo of herself meeting Princess Diana? Scripted. Meghan doesn't even engage. She deflects and drops shh, like she's levitating above the rest of us. That's what people hate.
Her. Well, speaking of which, despite failing to make Time 100's most influential this year, she's invited herself to the summit. She's invited herself to speak at the event, which I just think is horrific. Like, I think that's so embarrassing. You didn't make the list, but you're going to show up to talk. Um, First of all, I have to ask, does it say anything to you about this, the existence of this list, that Blake Lively made it? It's one of Time's most 100 influential.
Blake Lively clearly laid down some cash for some cause that she was going to have this boomerang back to her when she needs it.
Well,
Again,
it was NAACP, which makes me laugh because she is the woman that had her wedding at a plantation.
right. And wasn't her whole brand that also flopped hard? It was sort of rooted in that sort of plantation-y,
Yeah,
like,
the blog, the lifestyle site. Is
yeah,
that
and
what
then
you're
she was
talking about?
selling stuff. She was trying to be Gwyneth.
Yeah.
It didn't work. Again, she's highly unlikable. And there are a lot of parallels there between, like, if I'm Blake Lively, I'm just going to ground. Just don't show your face. Just let this ride itself out as much as you possibly can. Megan has no shame. So, she was in New York about a week ago. Privacy, privacy, privacy. She showed up to a Broadway show with a caravan of 4 security cars. Taylor Swift and Beyonce use 2 at most, okay? Presidents and ex-presidents use less. But we have to alert the media to our presence. We're on Broadway. So she's going to probably roll up with like a ridiculous, grotesque caravan that's going to clog traffic up in New York. If her previous remarks are anything to go by, and remember, I gutted it out. I took one for all of you guys. I went to that Ms. Magazine event where she was given some meaningless award and had to listen to her word salad.
You did.
And it was god awful. What is she going to say? Like, if you could just like spitball, like, what do you think her message is going to be to this room full of, let's remove Blake Lively from this equation, but otherwise, like, influential people who are moving the needle in the culture? What is Meghan Markle going to tell them?
Nothing of value, and that's what frustrates me so much is they're calling her like the founder of as ever or whatever. I can't remember how Markle, who's
Oh, it's
described
founder as ever, and actress, producer. It's like Mindy Kaling's Chiron on her show.
Exactly.
Actress, producer, friend.
Yeah, yeah. Founder of As Ever, actor, producer. And I'm like, As Ever, hasn't even had its first birthday yet. I mean, did you ever even receive your honey? I mean, some customers haven't ever even received like their purchase yet. And what can she say on a stage that's going to inspire Elon? What in God's green earth could she say? It's just it's so infuriating to watch these two fail, Harry and Meghan fail up. That when is somebody going to say, tell them no, you don't belong here. You didn't deserve it. You don't deserve it. You didn't earn it.
I wonder if it's kind of just like camp at this point, right? Like maybe it's like, oh, let's see, like they're gonna bring eyeballs to this event.
Yeah,
So,
that's it. That's
so
it.
that's it. But when you were saying that, I was thinking like, do you think Meghan looked at that ridiculous let them eat cake 11-minute joyride in space that Gayle King, who has become peak insufferable Gayle King,
Yeah.
and Katy Perry and Lauren Sanchez, and then three other people whose names we don't know because they're not fame whores. Do you think she looked at that and said, where was my invite?
So let's get this straight. Meghan Markle didn't make the Time 100 list. But she's still showing up at the summit. As a speaker. Who does that? Her As Ever brand hasn't even fulfilled basic customer orders. She's calling herself a founder of something that's barely functioning. Meanwhile, she'll be speaking alongside actual influencers and innovators. What does she plan to say? Work hard, unless you're already famous? This is the most frustrating part. Harry and Meghan constantly failing upward. No track records. No substance. And yet, still given global platforms. For what? Now this might actually stick. Meghan's half-sister, Samantha Markle, is bringing her lawsuit back. And it's gaining traction.
100. I thought that a million times as I was watching this. And you know what? You're right. And it bothers me that we don't know their names of the other women, because one of the women, and it kills me that I've already forgotten her name, but one of the women wanted to be an astronaut and was brutally had to spend like $5,000 on a kit, and had to, through the process of having this investigated, the kit was allegedly destroyed. And they never found out who attacked her. And because she was so depressed, she went dark for a while and tried to process it. And then she became an advocate. And now she's actually going back into what she was initially passionate about, which is space, and which is, so that is the story we should have all been talking about, not Katy Perry and the Daisy, not Gayle King shaking the bell and so, but 100% do I believe that Meghan Markle was like, why was I not there? And, Meghan specifically tried to worm her way in with Jeff and Lauren at the second Beyonce concert, the second night she went to Beyonce. So we've seen her hanging around them. We've seen her hanging around Kris Jenner. This is certainly a club that she is trying to insert herself in. Yeah, I 100% agree with you. When I was watching that, I thought Meghan Markle would have done that in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah, the first royal in space.
Oh,
Wait,
God.
the first biracial royal in space. How many firsts can we get up there, right? That's so funny about Jeff and Lauren Sanchez. So now I'm thinking, okay, Lauren made herself BFFs with Kris Jenner, which I mean tells you everything about this woman's priorities, whatever. But like Kris Jenner invites almost everybody to her annual Christmas party. Harry and Meghan's invite seems to be getting lost in the mail constantly. And I really think they set the tone and put their foot epically wrong when freshly out of Megxit, and they went to that premiere, and Harry went up to Bob Iger, head of Disney, and said, my wife does voiceover work. And you can see Bob Iger's wife, her face, she's like, what the actual F is that?
Yeah, this is not the
This guy's
top.
asking my husband for work at a premiere, and like Jay-Z and Beyonce are right next to him. It was like the gall, just the unmitigated like uncouthness of everything, the grabbiness and the grubbiness. It's like they are just so like it's just me, me, me. What can you do for me? They can't even play the game. Like it's
No.
a transactional town. Learn how to play the game a little bit. Hire a professional like coach to help you socialize. I think clearly Harry was never properly socialized.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Yeah.
And his wife, I mean, whatever toxic stew brewed up this particular brand of malignant narcissism, which is only going to get worse, not better.
Yeah.
I mean, you could study this in like psychology 101 for days, what created this kind of monster.
I did read a few years ago that right before Meghan met Prince Harry, she met with a publicist in London, and one of her get famous quick ideas over there was to do theater, like to be the celebrity that they cast for, you know, as Roxy Hart, or you know how they'll randomly throw a celebrity in a role.
Mhm.
Do you think that that might be what she's trying to do? Do you think it was just a sweet little Broadway visit, or do you think that's another one of Meghan's PR, you know, strategies that she's like, maybe I could do Broadway? I don't know. I think it's probably too much work for her at this point, but I do see that she's digging back into the 2014, 2015 strategy a lot lately when it comes to, you know, her professional path.
Because Meghan claimed, both in the Oprah interview and Netflix series, that Samantha was part of a hate group harassing her. Samantha says that accusation ruined her life, career opportunities lost, daily harassment and total defamation. Meghan's lawyers now say her claim was opinion, protected by free speech. But wait, isn't Harry the one who called the First Amendment bonkers? Honestly? Good. Let this go to court. Let the Sussexes finally be held accountable for the stories they spin to boost their own victim narrative. Maureen puts it perfectly. Meghan feeds off the narrative that even her own family has turned on her because she's too brilliant.
You know, I think you're right that Broadway would be too much for her because the level of discipline it takes, you know, to do 8 shows a week, and just the way you have to keep your body in like peak physical condition, just to have the stamina. I mean, I recently saw Nicole Scherzinger, if I'm saying her name right, in Sunset Boulevard.
Oh, yeah.
That is like an athletic performance. It is a power. She's incredible. And someone like Meghan Markle, she's not going to be able to hack that. She wants to swoop in to a recording studio and do a podcast with quote unquote friends of hers. And she's clearly done no prep work for it because listening to this thing is the audio equivalent or the audible equivalent of watching paint dry. You're like, what is the actual, like the conversation is just formless. There's nothing. There's just lots of California verbiage, right? It's like intentionality and making space and permission structures to love yourself and, you know, really just recognizing and acknowledging in yourself that wanting, like working hard is really enough. And it doesn't really matter if you execute successfully, right? But just love yourself for working hard enough. And to which I say, it actually does matter greatly if you execute successfully, Meghan, because you're seeing the result when you don't. You will have the head of Spotify call you and your husband effing grifters because you did no work on podcast version 1.
Yeah. Did you see that? Well, no, because you didn't know that you haven't seen the comments yet. The comments around episode 3 are that we didn't find out about any of her physical ailments, that she didn't go into any of her medical history. And so the audience is like,
Oh,
oh my gosh, are you sure you're okay? Because we didn't hear about something that happened to you in the past. Isn't that a little odd that we're finding out so much medical information about Meghan Markle on the Confessions of a Female Founder podcast about how to become a billionaire?
it's so funny you say that, Kinsey. That's such a smart observation. We are missing a gynecological update on Meghan Markle's reproductive system. What will I do with myself? I don't know. I need the update. I cannot go on with my day without this most personal. Again, I would like my privacy. And I fled the British royal family because they were demanding I give too much of myself. But I'm going to slap my ass down in a podcast chair and tell a bunch of strangers about my gynecological issues. It's
Oh my
so
God.
classy and on brand.
Um, what do you think about Meghan in August, just a few days shy of her 44th birthday? I doubt she'll actually physically be there, but having to revisit this case she tried to dismiss so many times, this libel case her sister has brought against her. Because Harry and Meghan, according to Samantha Markle, Meghan's half sister, Meghan and Harry build the case in their Netflix docuseries that her sister is a part of some hate group that has brought her down and bullied her. And in response, Samantha Markle says, "I have received horrible attention. You've jeopardized my livelihood professionally, and I've been harassed immensely over the years because of the Oprah Winfrey interview and because of your Netflix series." Now, the case was initially dismissed. This is the appeal. And if things go right for Samantha, it's going to make life for Meghan much more difficult. But do you have an opinion on all of this chaos? I do sympathize with Meghan's family over some of the hate that they receive for speaking out against her. But in Samantha's case specifically, you do see that case built against Samantha in the show about how she has all these, they claim she has all these various Twitter pages and she's harassing Meghan on Twitter, and she's saying that's legitimately not true, and the proof you're offering doesn't exist.
It's pathological. So where does this leave Meghan Markle? Surrounded by staged ducks, ignored by A-listers, recycling press strategies from 2015, and prepping for a lawsuit she never wanted to face. It's all starting to unravel. Tina Brown sees it. Tom Bower sees it. Even Drew Barrymore probably sees it now. The only one who doesn't? Meghan herself. This isn't a brand revival. It's a brand in meltdown mode, and the world is finally catching on.
So Meghan's saying that Samantha is part of a hate group. This is classic out of her toolbox. It's adjacent to racism, right? What other kind of hate group would her white sister, half sister, belong to? Okay. So again, that to me says this case has a lot of legitimacy because, by the way, nothing but greater for these two who are so litigious. They will sue over in a poorly chosen word. They will freaking sue your ass into oblivion. I love that Meghan Markle is being tied up financially, psychologically, emotionally in this lawsuit that her sister won't drop. And I love that it's keeping Samantha and Thomas, two of what Meghan Markle clearly thinks are like the hobbits of her family, like the unsightly hobbits. So she had to cut them off, because we have to present perfectly at all times.
White dress, ducks.
White dress, ducks, ball gowns, sedated dogs. Just my opinion, and I think that dog was sedated on the Netflix show. Because dogs in kitchens typically aren't that calm. They're around
Right.
food
Yeah.
and they have smells. They can smell like 10,000 times greater than we do. So I think that dog, again. So yeah, I love this for her. I hope it goes to trial. I hope she has to pay Samantha a lot of money to make this go away, which is probably the preferred outcome. But I love it.
Why doesn't she just pay her money to make it go away? Why is she, just does she really think that she has the upper hand? There was one line that I pulled about her attorneys, Meghan's attorneys say that they said in their past filing an implicit or express statement that Samantha belongs to a hate group spreading disinformation about Meghan is an opinion protected by the First Amendment. The same First Amendment that Harry says is bonkers. But isn't that wild that you can accuse your sibling of something, in this case, so heinous? Because you're right, there are elements of racism there. It not only is this woman harassed every single day because of her affiliation to Meghan Markle and Meghan's version of events, but she says, I have lost professional opportunities because of this.
Meghan is she's just the worst. She's just the freaking worst. And I do think she will never pay Samantha money to make this go away, unless and until it really becomes far too problematic for her. Because really, what this also does for Meghan is it gives her that supply that she loves, which feeds the victimhood slash martyr narrative. Oh my God, even my own blood is coming after me just because I'm so great.
I'm so
What am I to
popular.
do? Hide my greatness so that my sibling doesn't like come after me in a lot like that's her freaking weird, perverse, self-deluded thinking.
Yeah.
That's what I think that's what's animating her. So I think she's kind of probably getting off on it.
That's it for this breakdown, folks. If you think Meghan's spiral is real, or if you believe this is just more media targeting, sound off in the comments. Do you think Samantha Markle has a legit case? And why are all the celebrities ghosting Meghan? Let's talk about it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for more no-fluff commentary and brutal royal truths. See you in the next one.